I have a rule about being constructive, so I can't ask any questions right now because all of the questions that I have right now are rhetorical and they end with the word idiot.
The Wrestling Life.
Hey everybody, it's The Wrestling Life. It's episode 403. We're back. It's the middle or end of March now here at the end of March 2025. I'm Ethan.
And I'm Liam.
Liam, we have so much to talk about this week.
And as always, so many things we can't talk about on the first and only wrestling podcast.
John Cena's a heel, and he's blamed it on a toxic relationship with the fans, possibly because there's no storyline reason for him to be a heel. We'll talk more about this as we march along here today. Lex Luger's going into the WWE Hall of Fame. He wants his preferred inductor is Sting. Problem is Sting is under contract to a company that WWE is systematically trying to destroy. So we'll see what happens there. AEW Dynamite this week. It's held in Omaha, Nebraska in a blizzard, and all the bad faith actors are talking about one spot on that show. And David Finlay has defeated Shota Umino to win the New Japan Cup. We'll talk about that. Let's start with John Cena being a heel. We'll start with Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown. WWE is on the road to WrestleMania. They're 4 weeks out. There's really not much going on the road to WrestleMania except who's put herself in the women's world title match, Rhea Ripley. You know who's turned heel because of the fans, John Cena. And but the big thing that we wanted to discuss this week, John Cena made his first appearance since turning heel on Raw this week, and he cut a promo that I know you have very strong feelings about.
Yeah, I thought it sucked. I didn't buy it. I didn't think it was the reasoning was particularly sound, either even within like the meta, you know, they love telling you wrestling's fake now on Monday Night Raw on Netflix. John Cena's using words like heel and babyface in his promo. It's I didn't buy it even in like a meta sense. It didn't make any sense to me. And I didn't think his delivery was particularly good per John Cena standards. I thought this was like C minus delivery from him as well, which brings me to my belief that I don't know that John really believes in this direction super strongly at the moment. At least this is a lot to ascertain maybe from one promo, but I said just based on it not the reasoning, the verbiage not making a lot of sense to me, and his inability to deliver it in a particularly compelling or passionate way, in my opinion. I don't know. Feels a little half-assed for it being, the basis of the biggest wrestling angle of the last 10 years or whatever.
So there was a very cryptic Wrestling Observer report this week that a throwaway line on one of the subscriber audio shows that there are things going on, or however it was phrased, and everyone in the company will deny that anything's going on, but something is going on with the Cena angle, and that maybe explains part of why his promo didn't make a ton of sense. Uh, is this reading between the lines? Is this Dwayne tinkering with or dropping out of tinkering with this angle after being very hands-on for a week or two there, and they just couldn't get him on the phone for the past week? Is he in a Lazarus pit somewhere? Is he I don't know what that report exactly entails, but it seems like I don't know. At this point, yeah, there's probably something to the idea that uh Uncle Paul is not calling the shots and someone else is calling the shots and they've been hard to get a hold of and pinned down on plans. They have a month before the big show, but any just thoughts on what that could mean? I don't have any insight. I don't know what that could mean other than Dwayne and Brian Gewirtz are not committing to providing weekly creative for this angle.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of I would believe that certainly. I mean, the last time we saw John Cena, he was leaving the arena with Dwayne and Travis Scott for some reason, and uh, neither Dwayne nor Travis Scott were with John Cena, nor were they mentioned. There was no mention of Cena selling his soul to Dwayne, or why he needed, or if this was Cena's acting, was going to do this turn on Cody anyway, why he needed, Dwayne to give him the nod to do so is unclear. Nor
Yeah.
like how long, if this is as people now allege, this has been the plan all along. He did not at any point clue anyone into like how long he and Dwayne have been planning to betray Cody like this or why.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it certainly feels like, along with the idea that I guess Dave and I think Sean Ross Sapp corroborated that the Dwayne wanted Cody to turn and Cena was the second choice. And now and with that being kind of slapped together, and now the aftermath of it feels just as slapped together. And yeah, so if Dwayne and his personal writer aren't interested in pointing WWE in any specific directions, at least not as far as I assume Dwayne's going to be at WrestleMania and get involved in the match. But if that's all the direction he's given Paul and Bruce at the moment, then yeah, I guess they gotta go figure out. Well, we gotta have Cena do stuff on his own for a while here, and what do you have him do?
This is a very hack suggestion,
Mm,
but wouldn't it have almost been better to have him go out there and do the heel thing of that they overdid in the 2010s and just be like, you know what? You don't deserve an explanation versus what he did.
yes, I mean for one, it would have saved all of us 25 minutes
Sure.
of rambling nonsense. But yes, I think that maybe would have been punting it to next week is always an option.
I mean, they do that in some form on every show anyway. They milk the Royal Rumble winner thing for like 3 weeks.
Mhm.
Like, this is the first time John was going to be there. People just wanted to see the entrance. Um, feel like that hack solution would have been much better than what
You,
they did. But
you can even do it where, and this is another part of it annoys me. They had him and Cody come face to face, and Cody just talked to him, which annoyed me because
yeah,
this
he
guy
probably
tried
should
to
be.
tried to murder you the last time you saw him.
Yeah,
So you could also do that. Like Cena goes to speak, the crowd's booing him, and then he finally is about to start the promo, and Cody just runs out and attacks him, and you do the pull apart. Like a million things you could have done. Where if you're not exactly 100% sure, what the version of history we're going to go with on how long this has been a plan is yet. Uh, where you could have kicked the can down the road and still done something without it being what they did.
sure. Other big thing. I mean, there's only 4 matches for Mania so far, so there's only so much to talk about. But they did a contract line. Rhea Ripley is the real life Charlotte Flair, who is using her stroke to put herself in the title match at WrestleMania. Uh, Hey, at least this Charlotte came back and won the Royal Rumble this year, even though that didn't make a bit of sense. Hey, Rhea Ripley appears in storyline to think she should get a title match because she beat up both the champion and the challenger, signed the contract. Um, I mean, I think wrestling fans are the people that go to WWE shows currently are gonna cheer Rhea Ripley no matter what, I think.
Yeah.
In traditionally, I would say they just turned her heel. Did they realize they just turned her heel? Did they realize what an entitled crybaby this makes her look like? And I don't think they thought this through. But hey, people don't seem to have turned on Rhea Ripley yet.
Oh, yeah, she's mad at Bianca
So what do
for
I know?
she's mad at Bianca for sitting and watching her match with EO, and that
Yeah,
she distracted herself during it by jawing with
yeah,
Bianca, and thus
yeah,
allowed EO to beat her clean with her move for the belt. And so now she's mad at
yeah.
Bianca and mad at EO for beating her.
She doesn't have a legitimate gripe in storyline. It's like even when heels have a gripe, it's like you try to make it legitimate so that there's some way to justify it. It's like she has no legitimate gripe to having a title match here, and I assume she's going to end up in the title match. I don't know. It's bizarre.
Yeah,
And Jey Uso top dollared himself on Raw this week. I guess that's the other news. He's in one of the four matches announced for WrestleMania. He's challenging Gunther for the World Heavyweight title, and he planted himself on his head this week. He's not very good at the wrestling, is he?
he's not. I just want to reiterate nothing wrong being an opening match tag guy with a very over catchphrase. It's a great little spot for Jay. You don't have to be serious singles wrestler Jey Uso. You and your brother, who is floundering in different ways on the other show currently, you could just go back to being a really over tag team with a really over catchphrase, and everyone would be happy with that. You would still sell lots of Yeet sunglasses and T-shirts, I'm sure. But he's beloved. And yeah, they just kind of do the same a version of the same angle every single week with him and Gunther, where one of them wrestles and then the other one runs down and they brawl and Jay lays him out and then Gunther lays him out. We just go back and forth. It's fine. It's WWE Universe booking, but it's inoffensive for the most part.
Uh, when you start looking at the WrestleMania card and you look at what they've done to build the matches, ooh, I don't know if any of it's been good so far. The other match announced for the Mania here in the build to the biggest show of the year is Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair. The babyface question mark Stratton defending against the heel question mark Flair. Um, they had Charlotte lay Tiffany out like 4 straight weeks, and then this week they did some angles where like Tiffany got her revenge and hit a dive off the post to the floor onto Charlotte and a bunch of security guys. Charlotte missed her completely. She took out 9 security guys, and Charlotte just kind of falls near her. And then they had her do a swanton off the video wall, and Charlotte failed to catch her there too, and 8 security guys caught her. So, and Charlotte is just kind of in the scene and falling down near her. A political hit? I'm not sure. Um,
I was gonna say if you is it considered missing if she just intentionally stood as far away as she could? That's still missing, or is that like what you maybe the other thing you said? Just a little.
uh, I don't know, man. Could be either. You could convince me this is a political hit. You could convince me It's just it's just how many times does somebody not put the other person over in an angle or a match to get the benefit of a doubt, right? Like how many times did Shawn Michaels in his career lose a championship without doing a job? Like
Yeah.
a half dozen, right?
Mhm.
It's like this is like one of a half dozen angles Charlotte's been in where, you know, she's not going out of her way to make the other person look good. And the other person needs about as much help as they can get because there's really not a storyline reason why Tiffany turned heel other than she just cashed in on her friend Naya, which is a heel thing to do.
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't know. Not a particularly strong babyface promo at this stage is Tiffany, so and then they laid her out like the first 4 weeks in a row. So I think the build for all four of the WrestleMania matches so far, abysmal. Absolutely abysmal. Uh doesn't matter. They're gonna do the biggest gate they've ever done in our lifetimes. So what do I know about anything?
Yeah, it's not great. I mean, there's still matches that haven't been officially announced. I assume, this coming SmackDown, they have Punk, Rollins, and Roman all. They get in love with certain phrasing. Now it's under the same roof is what they're currently in love with.
Yes.
So Punk, Cody, and Cena were under the same roof on Raw on Monday, and now here we have Punk and Rollins and Roman all under the same roof on SmackDown this coming Friday. So I assume that three-way that everyone's ecstatic about is going to get booked here soon. They set that up by having Roman accidentally help Seth win a match and then beat up both guys, just to let you know who the real star is.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, at least that match has some juice to it. I don't know. Like nothing else feels particularly hot right now, but anyway, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. We mentioned briefly Lex Luger's going in the WWE Hall of Fame. His preferred inductor is Sting. Sting's under contract to AEW. WWE has sandwiched a European tour around AEW running London this summer. They are also putting a Saturday night's main event on NBC the night of AEW's big All In show in Texas this year, and now uh the now they need a favor. They're doing everything they can to create havoc with AEW's business, and now they need a favor, or they would like a favor. I'm not sure if look, they've operated through back channels before when like AEW stopped using they used Bash at the Beach one time. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, WWE said, look, you can call him Cody Rhodes again, but we want this intellectual property back in exchange. So look, they could go through back channels, and I'm sure Bill Regal knows who to call over there, and they could work something out. The question is, you know, why should AEW do any favors for WWE right now? At the same time, would you be surprised at all if Tony Khan did something nice for Sting and Lex Luger? Like, anyway, what are your thoughts on the entire situation?
Yeah, I mean it's like I said, we've talked about it a million times. It's a wrestling war. No matter how far in first place WWE is, they do not want they don't want to, they don't want AEW to even get unlapped, much less, encroach anywhere on their space. So yeah, they're going to
Right.
keep messing with them, and that's fine. I don't have a problem with them booking shows in similar towns. They both ran a show in Orlando last year. On they ran a house show against AEW's pay-per-view in December last year, which was really AEW booking a talent that WWE always runs that week anyway. Like it's yeah, there's gamesmanship afoot. That part I have no problem with, really. And equally, I really wouldn't have a problem if Tony told WWE to kick rocks here, because he's played nice and let his guys go to things like the Hall of Fame before. He's let them appear on Raw to say happy birthday to John Cena before. He's been very nice to WWE, and it has not been reciprocated in any way. So, I mean, people were floating the idea of, like, when TNA let Flair do the Hall of Fame, like, is there a one-time appearance from somebody in WWE that is worth it for AEW to get? I don't know. I mean, TNA got Christian out of it, so I think they could do better than that. They'd have to, I don't know. Ask for Cody for a night. I don't know. I don't think you're gonna get it, but if like you could ask for like a ridiculously high price theoretically, and if they say no, go, all right, well, that's the price if you want Sting to do the Hall of Fame. So, or you could just say no, kick rocks, and I think that would be fine. Luger and DDP were not allowed to be on camera during Sting's retirement show, which is again fine. So I don't really think, I'm sure Sting can attend the Hall of Fame. Nobody's going to be mad at him for that. I just think it's like, yeah, don't. I don't know. I like the idea that it would be like a moral failing on Tony's part to not do that. I don't think so. But you also know there is the personal side where I'm sure it would mean a lot to Lex, and therefore would mean a lot to Sting. And we know that Tony loves Sting. So I don't know. Maybe you could tug on Tony's heartstrings. But yeah, I would just say, unless you're getting something kind of ridiculous back for that appearance, I would probably, if I were in Tony's shoes, be very, very comfortable just saying, no, you can't have Sting appear on camera on your show after you're, trying to put me out of business.
After your behavior.
Yes.
Look,
I think that would be understandable.
I have dozens of professional gripes with Tony Khan, but
Sure.
no one's ever accused. He may have a blind spot or willfully turn a blind eye to some of the ridiculous behavior in his own company by, I don't know, veterans who have been accused of things. But I don't think he's a bad guy. Yeah, so we'll see. Where is your ask? Do you start at, hey, I want Cody to come in and put over Will Ospreay for a night, and then do you negotiate down to, I'd like CM Punk to,
Right.
I don't know, hug Hangman Page in the ring? I don't. Where do you start? And do you eventually settle on, like, hey, AJ Styles comes in for one night and wrestles Swerve or whatever? I don't know. Like Nakamura. They still have sending Nakamura on these interpromotional deals.
Yeah.
He works for no one more than he works for WWE now.
Get Natty in for the Owen. That's what they should do.
Hey, who says no? Who says no to that?
Probably WWE.
That might be your. Oh, it's a fair point. I mean, I don't know. This is a WWE though that is very. They're not a monopoly.
Yes.
So I think it's also a Nick Khan thing. And would Nick Khan score a lot of internet points by? I think that's a brilliant idea there, actually. I really think you hit the nail on the head. Natty for the Owen that goes to the finals and loses in the finals. Perfect.
It's an idea.
Doubt that happens, but that's the winning idea right there. I'm going to advocate for that now. Alrighty. AEW Dynamite this week. There was a blizzard in Omaha, Nebraska. John Moxley. Here's what we know about John Moxley. He got in that truck this week and he drove it from Cincinnati, Ohio to Omaha, Nebraska. It took him 11 hours in a blizzard. And because he's America's best friend and he wanted to wrestle in Omaha, he wanted to wrestle the Rated R Superstar Cope in a street fight for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship, which we haven't seen on television in 6 months. And they pulled out all the stops. They did all of the smoke and mirrors and magic tricks to try to make that match work. I thought it was better than the pay-per-view match, but it was also about a half hour shorter than the pay-per-view match. The big spot everybody saw, John Moxley got slammed onto Cope's board that he's named Spike, which is a 2x4 with a bunch of nails. Some work, some shoot nails in. And sure seemed like John got a lot of puncture wounds there from that. Any thoughts on the match? Any problems with that spot? The usual discourse, the engagement farmers on X who are looking for just to spark debate so that they can collect a few pennies for for providing traffic to the platform, all seem to have the same predictable take about it. What did you think of the match? What did you think of the spot? Are you ready to move on from the Rated R Superstar Cope, who may now be feuding with FTR? We never know. What do you think?
Yeah, so I thought the match was all right. I thought the first half of it was largely boring, and then from the infamous spot on, I thought it got pretty good. The walk and brawl stuff in the first half I did not enjoy it, but
I got flashbacks like a Vietnam War veteran. I got flashbacks to the Orton WrestleMania match during the pandemic.
Yeah,
which was walk and brawl through the performance center for 45 minutes.
Oh gosh, one of the worst things anyone's ever done in wrestling involving a Bowflex.
Oh,
anyway.
Oh,
one of. I said one of, not the worst. But anyway, yeah, it was this was all right. The spot itself, look, the people that can't that have trouble walking, the Jeff Hardys of the world, if he had taken a few more simple suplexes onto nails and a few less like giant jumps onto concrete, he wouldn't be bow-legged right now. All right.
Sure.
Same for the other Hardys and Dudleys and Adam Copeland for that matter. Maybe wouldn't have had to get like 4 neck surgeries.
Matt Hardy's pelvis and his tailbone fused.
Yes.
He has a pelvis / tailbone.
it's one item now. They're connected like Shawn Michaels' hat and his hair.
Yes.
So like, listen, it's grotesque. If you don't like it, I'm not going to argue with you and tell you should like it. But on the grand scheme of like danger, this is so low on the it's a gross out spot. For the same reason, if you don't like watching, like, I don't know, Jackass, like if that wasn't your bag back in the day when it was on MTV, if you don't like watching, I think personally it's hilarious and very entertaining to watch a multimillionaire skewer himself with nails. I think that's hilarious. I think it's great that John Moxley did that. He should do it more often. It's way more entertaining than watching him have regular wrestling matches has been for the last 6 months. I think that's a good use of his time. And if he wants to do that, he should continue doing it. He should do it more regularly. Other than like Foley losing part of his ear in barbed wire, like none of the reason Mick Foley is the way he is not because of glass and thumbtacks and barbed wire. It's because of the chair shots to the head and the falling onto concrete and jumping off of high things. So
it's from doing that stupid elbow off the apron to the concrete floor when Bill Watts pulled the mats up around the ring in WCW.
He lands hip first every night. on concrete. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. So this was fine. I enjoyed it. It was hilarious. The part where Yuta couldn't pull it out of his back because it was stuck in there so much. Like, it was gross. Don't get me wrong, but my default reaction to this, similarly to when Darby went through that pane of glass in the Sting retirement match and his back was all cut up. I was laughing at that. I was like, what an idiot. Like, if he's gonna do this dumb stuff, good for him. Whatever ends at however long John Moxley continues to wrestle, he's not going to retire because of a puncture wound in this match. So I thought it was great, and then the rest of it with all the run-ins was whatever. It's a Jeff Jarrett TNA type finish, but all of the guys they wrote off in the lead up to the first Cope match are back. All the rest of the Death Riders. Pac not gone for 6 months this time, and maybe the biggest surprise twist of the night. Only missed like 3 weeks of television.
Oh, he's still got that trios title. I guess that has never stopped them from writing him off before, but yeah. I think a rare instance where neither one of us was right. We both saw that and like, I guess we'll see Punk in the fall.
Yes, correct.
We'll see him when the wind changes. What does that mean? I'll stay until the wind changes. Mary Poppins is a disaster, by the way.
She's a disaster. She's a disaster. The film is a disaster.
She's a disaster. The film's incredible. Mary Poppins is a disaster as a person.
As a person, telling children to to eat sugar from a spoon. Anyway,
hey, let's go over to my weird uncle's house and take hallucinogens and float up to the ceiling. What? You're taking kids to your weird uncle's house to do drugs? Anyway.
Hello, kids. Have you met my boyfriend, a transient chimney sweep?
Hold Uncle Bert's hand. Oh man. Are we sure? Have we decided whether or not the sequel they did with Jim from The Office's wife is that canon or not? Remember they did Mary Poppins Returns like 10 years ago?
I
never saw it. I don't know if that's canon or not.
I don't know, but I think the idea is that it's the kids from the first movie are an adult, even though they're brother and sister, they like have kids and live in the same house or something. I don't know. I didn't see it either, but I think it's like the two kids from the first movie are adults, and then Mary Poppins comes to take care of their kids, I guess. I don't know. So I guess it's supposed to be a continuation, but I don't know if she's literally supposed to be Julie Andrews or not.
Right. Yeah. All right. Well,
I'm
not going to Google Mary.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Please tell us whether the plot of Mary Poppins Returns and whether or not it is canon.
Please do.
You know, I read the Mary Poppins book when I was a kid, and you know, there's like 6 sequels. There's like Mary Poppins is back. Here comes Mary Poppins again. It's like
Mary Poppins won't leave. She's going through some stuff at home. She just needs a bed until she gets back on her feet.
Exactly, 1,000%. And like, there's a lot of weird intellectual property like that they turned into kids movies, and then they never made sequels for, which is weird because they would make 900 sequels today. But like, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory got one movie. There's like 5 Charlie Chocolate Factory books, right? Like, how come only the first one ever got made? I don't know. Anyway, very confusing to a young me. Great story. Also on Dynamite, they wrapped up the international title tournament with Ricochet and Mike Bailey. Getting a double pin. So we might be doing a triple threat at the pay-per-view. We still have like 3 weeks between now and the pay-per-view. So, and Omega's going to be on the show next week. So he could at some point say, hey, why don't you two guys fight? And then I'll fight the winner of that. It was a flat finish to a weird match, I thought, when Mike Bailey and Ricochet both pinned Satchel Ass Mark Davis. But do you have thoughts on the build to that?
Yeah, just I mean, doing a tournament and then not. I mean, I know it was a 1 week tournament, but even so, doing that and then not having one guy win sucks.
Mm-hmm.
So I would prefer again. Is Kenny in storyline still an EVP?
It's a good question. It's a good question. I think it's storyline, yes.
Okay, so like, couldn't he then? Because the Bucks could just make matches and do whatever they wanted when they were EVPs on the show.
Yeah.
So you would think Kenny as EVP could just go, "Hey, we're supposed to have one winner of this tournament, so you guys wrestle each other, and the winner of that will face me." But I don't know. Maybe he doesn't care. I mean, that's very much the Kenny Omega character. I think is that he doesn't actually really care about the booking. He just shows up to wrestle.
Yeah. Probably where he is in his life right now, too. I
Mm-hmm.
think all those guys from the elite. Can I share a minor gripe that really irritated me coming off AEW's pay-per-view, which
Mm-hmm.
was Hangman beat MJF in a very good, very physical match in the beginning of that pay-per-view. And then Hangman was on the show for about 30 seconds announcing he's going to enter the Owen Hart tournament last week. And then MJF was advertised for a promo. And MJF got the big in-ring segment with MVP where MVP asked him to join the Hurt Syndicate. It
Mm-hmm.
really irritated me that the loser of the match was advertised for a promo and the winner of the match was not advertised for the show at all and did a throwaway backstage. Like in the end, does it matter? No. Does this stuff happen in wrestling all the time? Yes. I don't know. I just felt it's like, okay, the loser of that feud got elevated. The winner of the feud is going to be a guy in an 8-man tournament. What are we doing?
Yeah, I mean, especially, I mean, they at least had Hangman address the fact that he once, like 3 months ago, said that he would never let Swerve become the world champion again, and now Swerve is wrestling
Right.
for the title. And then they did have him and MJF do another backstage back and forth um thing.
They did. Yes.
So I guess that the idea is, well, that feud's continuing, and that's why Hangman won't get involved, and also because Hangman's a babyface again. uh,
Right.
so that's why he's not going to stop Swerve from winning, or at least doesn't appear to be going that direction. So yeah, no, but I agree. I mean, that's like you said, that could be sometimes a universal problem in wrestling, but it goes back to a problem that this show I think has had for years, which is that no matter who wins or loses or who is quote unquote elevated, that their positions on the show are not changing. And it's like MJF can do a job, but he's still going to get 20 minutes allotted to his segment next week. And the guy he put over is going to be basically at the same spot they were before. So, um, which a Hangman spot has changed a lot over the years in AEW, depending on how mad Tony Khan was at him at a certain given point, or what was going on in his personal life. But yeah, I think that's a fair gripe. I don't disagree. Also, because why would
Also
also
coming
why
out
is
of
MJF gonna join the Hurt? It's Owen Hart in the Nation. Like, what are we doing? Like,
I,
unless it's like a
I,
cruel prank and the Hurt Business are gonna beat the tar out of MJF. I don't understand what this is.
the psychology of it is weird too because the Hurt Syndicate are heels who are booked like baby faces,
Mm-hmm.
who the crowd treats like baby faces because they're the Road Warriors.
Correct.
They just come out and they do a bunch of cool power stuff by themselves and steamroll their opponents, and they beat him in 4 minutes. And it's like, well, that's a babyface act. In case you guys didn't know, they get a Road Warrior pop every time they come out. No one's ever looked the part of pro wrestler more than Bobby Lashley.
Mm-hmm.
Shelton Benjamin has been having good matches on television for almost 25 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And MVP is a very gifted speaker. And you put it all together, boy, man, we got the hottest tag team since the 1980s going here.
Right. And when they're
The
not
problem
wrestling,
is,
they're in looking like $1 million in like the nicest like custom fitted suits you've ever seen. They look like the coolest people on the planet. And wow, nobody wants to boo
exactly.
these guys.
They have Rolex watches. They look custom made head to toe for sure.
Yes.
And but in story they're heels, but they're half-ass turning babyface. Anyway, MJF is a heel who was miscast as a babyface for a year because he and Adam Cole got themselves over as babyfaces somehow. And it's like, do you really want babyface MJF again? Because if he joins them, is he going to be a heel in a babyface group or a babyface in a heel group? That I don't know. The psychology of it is also very weird to me. But
Right.
anyway,
I guess I'm just trying to figure out what that leads to. Is like, does he get a partner or another little group to feud with those
ugh,
guys? I guess you could do that, but then it's like a weird dynamic. I don't know. Could be any
who
number of 1,000
who?
things.
Yeah, it could. Okay, we can sit here in fantasy book it, or I could just move on. Uh, th- the other big angle, I guess, was Megan Bain and Chris Statlander was the main event of Dynamite this week. Second time they've done the match in about 6 weeks, and Bain beat Stat, and as she did the first time. And look, I don't have a problem with picking somebody and going with them. That's fine. Feels a little early. Megan Bain, I think, has won 6 matches since she came back. Or was like it was her introduction as a pushed character when she came
Right.
back, kind of like the middle of January. And she's she's got a couple of name wins there with Statlander twice, and but Tony Storm was on commentary for her match, and then they did a pull apart after the match, and Tony Storm challenged Megan Bain for the pay-per-view coming up in a little over 2 weeks' time. And it felt early to me. It doesn't feel like it's time for Tony to lose yet, but I I wouldn't cut the legs out from under Bane yet by having her do a clean job to the champion just yet. I don't know. It surprised me that they are going to it this early. But what are your thoughts on Tony Storm and Megan Bain? Tony Storm on commentary, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, Tony on commentary, A+ as always. One of the like who knew she was like the wittiest person in wrestling? Like as far as her ability to like do improv, she is significantly better than
Yes.
either of the Ziggler boys, who are allegedly professional comedians. Um,
Yes.
she's so
Yes.
funny and has so many funny lines on commentary this week. So she was awesome. Crowd was super into her and Megan brawling at the end of the show. So she's also like still a great baby face, even though she does so much haha, which is really, really impressive. So big ups to everything Tony did. As far as picking Megan this early, on one hand, like you said, I'm all for just, hey, we picked this person. We're not half-assing it. We built him up. We had her beat a bunch of people. Now she's going after the title. She laid out Tony, attacked her from behind on last week's Dynamite, beat Thunder Rosa on Collision, beat Stat on this week's Dynamite. It's basically laid out the entire division somewhere over the last 6 weeks. So yeah,
Right.
yeah, go ahead, go with her. But yeah, as far as it doesn't feel like Tony just won the belt back, so it doesn't feel like you should already be giving it to another heel, for like a big dominant long run. And on the other hand, though,
Right.
you're now, like you said, you now have to beat the heel if that's the case, or do a DQ or a count out or something lame, which historically they don't like doing on pay-per-view. So I don't know. I guess I think it's fine if you just build up the big stinky giant and let the baby face beat her. I guess since my
Sure.
my my feeling has been that since it appears we're heading for Mercedes and Athena like soon, and we're not saving that for
Yeah.
All In. Mercedes is probably going to win the ROH belt from Athena on either Dynasty or whatever the Double or Nothing, one of those big shows. And then I have to assume,
or if
oh,
sorry, or if there's a Ring of Honor pay-per-view WrestleMania weekend.
right. So there's somewhere along the way, Mercedes is going to win that ROH belt. And then you've got to do her versus, I mean, it would make sense to do her versus Tony for all the belts. I mean, I don't know how you begin to untangle that if one person is holding like every belt in your promotion, but it seems like that's the logical conclusion of doing a belt collector gimmick is she's got to go, Mercedes has to go for the world title, and unless you're turning Mercedes babyface and she's going against Megan and Megan wins the belt before then, I have to assume okay, you just need opponents for Tony to kind of spin her wheels until it's time to do the Mercedes thing. So I would also in that case be fine if Tony just beat her because you have a larger destination in mind, and then once Tony has lost the belt, you can build Megan back up by having by having her, or maybe Tony beats Mercedes at All In, and then Megan beats her to win the 9 belts or whatever. I don't know, or at least the 3 AEW belts. I don't know. So,
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of things they could do. I think Tony and Mercedes is something they have to do and should do for the world title. So probably doesn't make sense for Tony to lose this yet. So I guess I'm advocating for Tony to just beat the big stinky giant here.
That's fine. And I'm not saying that would kill Megan Bane's career or anything. It would just like it would cut the legs out from under this early push or whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
hey, look, heels can lose and heels can lose early and come back, I have no faith that they would do a good job of heating her back up.
Yeah, I mean it's like
But
in the old AEW, it's like Cody beat Wardlow very early on in the cage,
mm-hmm,
and then Wardlow became Goldberg accidentally. Um,
mm-hmm.
so it's like, yeah, you can do it. You can have her take the world champ to the limit, and Tony rolls her up at the end to get the quick pin or whatever, and she just escapes by the skin of her teeth. And you don't have to have Tony kick out of her finish and give her the pile driver and pin her with her with her foot on her chest or anything, but like
Right.
you
Yeah.
can, but yeah, the follow up is key, and it's like, well, once you've unfortunately you've already had her lay out and beat basically the entire division to heat her up for Tony. It does beg the question what you do with her afterwards.
So it's very strange to me, and it has to be very strange to Mercedes, who just turned 33, to be at the stage of her career where she's now regularly wrestling women that she inspired to become pro wrestlers. She wrestled Indy Hartwell at an indie show this past weekend, and then she wrestled Billy Starks on Dynamite this week. And it's like there's photos in both cases of those young ladies before they got into the business with WWE Mercedes. It's very, very jarring to be at the stage of our life now where the generation after Mercedes is wrestling. It's
Yeah,
weird, but
man, what this is August is 10 years since the famous Brooklyn match, right? The Bailey
yep,
Sasha match.
yep, that's right. Other thing I wanted to get your take on, the AEW Collision this week is split into two 1 hour episodes, an hour on Saturday and an hour on Sunday. This is the weekend of the big college basketball, first weekend of the big college basketball tournament, where there's 16 games Thursday, 16 games Friday, and then 8 games Saturday, 8 games Sunday, spread over like 4 networks. So they're going to put Collision on after college basketball Saturday night for an hour and Sunday night for an hour, trying to just experiment. I hate this. I think it's probably something they should do and something they should, by all means, experiment with. I hate the idea of them creeping onto another night with Sunday Collision. Do you have any strong thoughts on this?
No, I mean I was glad to see they loaded up the show with like luchadors and fun wrestling and not like Chris Jericho and
Yes.
old WWE guys. like they've tried to do in the past when they had a big
Sure.
lead in. So,
Yeah.
um, as far as like, hey, if there was anything you could do to be a point of difference from what maybe most people think of when they think of US mainstream pro wrestling currently, it's not 55-year-old guys having boring
Yeah.
matches. So that's fine. Yeah, as far as I don't need an hour show on Saturday and an hour show on Sunday every week, but hey, I guess maybe there's flexibility as far as how they deliver the hours, and maybe that's interesting to TNT and to Warner. I don't know. Like I said, it's a good opportunity for them. Just put on some fun matches, and I don't need this to be like I'm not looking for more nights of the week to be dominated by wrestling. We're up to, gosh, if they did a Saturday and a Sunday every week, which I don't think that's really on the table yet, but like, let's just imagine Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday NXT, Wednesday Dynamite, Thursday Impact and ROH if you're into that sort of thing, and Friday SmackDown. That would literally be seven.
Friday SmackDown.
Yeah, so 7 days a night or seven days a week. Plus,
Yeah.
New Japan and Indies and whatever else you may choose to watch with your, if you have various subscription services. So, yeah, I mean, 7 nights of wrestling. That's enough. We don't need six. Six is enough. The six that we have right now is plenty. So I'm not
Yeah.
I'm not looking to add another night.
Yeah. So we took I'm not sure. Your mother and my mother are both mothers. Um, I don't know if we break kayfabe or not anymore on this show, but we took our mom to lunch on Sunday for her birthday. By the way, I know I still have to Venmo you for
No, I'm
for
not.
that, but
Okay.
uh, yeah, no, you're not calling me relentlessly asking me for $30 or whatever. So we take her to lunch. And she's like, "Hey, are you following basketball this year?" And I'm like, "No." Like, if I didn't have wrestling 6 to 7 nights a week, I would probably follow the NBA. I would
Mhm,
probably
mhm.
watch the occasional college basketball game. I would maybe have time for hockey. I would get into, I don't know, I would get into other stuff, but it's just like, I managed to sandwich the NFL around, and baseball's there every day for 7 months during the summer, so you can and you can catch game replays like in the middle of the night if you're so inclined. So it's like, but like, no, I don't have time. I don't have time. Just explaining. No, I don't have room in my life to follow basketball anymore. It just and 7 nights a week of wrestling. It's like it's probably different for me than most people because I have to watch it. But it's like 7 nights a week of who asked for this anyway? They should probably explain it, or they should probably experiment with it. Is my point. David Finlay won the New Japan Cup, beat Shota Umino in the finals. This is I don't know.
Shota
Secure
Umino has
Genesis
has
is the next
shaved his head
show.
now. Just want to
He's
get that out
changed
there.
too. He has no hair now. Yeah, he's changed. He has no hair now. And I don't know. He was a guy they should have just, even though it completely bucks their tradition and their system, they should have gone with him before he went on excursion.
Hmm.
He started to get over and he had like a really good match with Tanahashi, and where people were buying near falls of that, like, oh, this young lion Shota Umino is gonna pin Tanahashi. Like the absolute mental gymnastics you have to do to come to that conclusion. Like they should have just gone with him. Instead, he went on excursion right before pandemic and just kind of disappeared for 3 years and didn't do very much. And then when they brought him back, they tried like three different personas for him, and none of them has really taken. So sure, he may as well lose to David Finlay, who's perpetually one phone call away from joining WWE.
I would say Finley's improved a lot. He's if you're familiar with like Young Lion or Babyface David Finlay, if you haven't really checked in on New Japan in a couple of years, he's a much better worker than he used to be. I think a more complete worker. But yeah,
Uh,
he's the current one of the current Bullet Club heels. So it's like, you kind of know what you're getting. There's less run-ins. That's more the House of Torture side of that it's less that stuff, but it is like it's he's the foreign gaijin and he works like it.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think he has any charisma. Wish him all the best. Wish him all the best as he challenges Hiroki Goto for the title on April 5th at Secure Genesis. And then that's I think that's what's going on. Did your name appear in the JFK files this week?
Not that I'm aware of. Apparently Tony Schiavone did.
Yes. Tony Storm informed us that Tony Schiavone appeared in the JFK file. It's like, do you think they told her like last week, okay, you're going to be on commentary next week, and then she just sat there for a week and came up with this stuff?
I'd like to think so. She seems her and Juice just riffing about it, just jotting them down in the notes app.
Oh yeah, that's good times. All right, anything else you want to talk about?
No, I think that about covers it.
All right, thanks everybody. Until next time, I'm Ethan,
and I'm Liam.
We'll be back soon with more stories from the wrestling life.
Adios.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Now, here are this week's bonus features.
All right. Well, you called, and I woke up and I couldn't see out of my right eye. That since has remedied itself. So,
well, it's probably fine.
Hopefully, we're on the up and up here. Yep. How are things going over there?
Oh, it's fine. Giant rainstorm going on outside currently, but.
Yep.
Other than that, things are good. Digging the not like the less than 5-minute commute I now have every day. It's really
that's sweet.
Changed my life for the better. I can't recommend not having much of a commute at all to anyone. If you've never tried not having a commute to work, I recommend it. It's life-changing to spend much less time in traffic in your life.
I try to keep on keeping on.